What if I told you that one of the most honest conversations about human existence was written over 3,000 years ago, and it contains vocabulary that could transform your English fluency forever? Picture this: a king, overwhelmed by the weight of mortality, decides to break his silence and speak directly to God about life's biggest questions. In the next few minutes, you'll discover not just profound English expressions, but phrases that native speakers use every single day without even realizing their biblical origins. David's Psalm 39 isn't just ancient poetry, it's a masterclass in emotional English that will give you the tools to express your deepest thoughts with the eloquence of a native speaker. By the end of this journey, you'll understand why this particular psalm has shaped English literature for centuries and how mastering its vocabulary will elevate your conversational skills to an entirely new level. David begins with a powerful declaration that reveals something fascinating about human psychology and gives us incredible English vocabulary. I said to myself, I will watch what I do and not sin in what I say. I will hold my tongue when the ungodly are around me. Notice how natural and conversational this sounds, yet it's packed with expressions we use constantly. I thought, but I said to myself, it's more dramatic, more engaging. The phrase, watch what I do, means to be careful or mindful of your actions. When someone tells you to watch what you say, they're using David's exact concept. Hold my tongue is a beautiful idiom, meaning to stay silent, especially when you want to speak. Native speakers say I had to hold my tongue when they wanted to respond, but chose silence instead. These aren't just ancient words, they're living expressions that will make your English sound naturally fluent. But here's where David's honesty becomes both relatable and linguistically rich. But as I stood there in silence, not even speaking of good things, the turmoil within me grew worse. The word turmoil is sophisticated vocabulary that describes inner chaos, confusion, and emotional disturbance. When native speakers want to express more than just I was upset, they use turmoil. Notice the phrase structure as I stood there. This is how we set scenes in English storytelling. Not even speaking of good things shows us how to use not even for emphasis. A construction that adds dramatic weight to any statement. David is teaching us that sometimes staying silent creates more problems than speaking up a lesson that resonates across cultures and centuries. The phrase grew worse is more natural than became worse in casual English conversation. The emotional intensity builds with vocabulary that every English learner should master. The more I thought about it, the hotter I got, igniting a fire of words. This sentence demonstrates the more construction that advanced English speakers use to show cause and effect with increasing intensity. The more I study, the more I understand, the more I practice, the better I become. David uses got instead of became. This is how native speakers actually talk. Getting hot doesn't just mean temperature. It means becoming angry or agitated. Igniting a fire of words is metaphorical language that shows how emotions can burst into speech. Native speakers constantly use fire metaphors. Heated argument, burning question, fired up about something. These aren't just poetic expressions, they're everyday English tools. When David finally speaks, his words contain some of the most profound English expressions ever written. Lord, remind me how brief my time on earth will be. Remind me that my days are numbered, how fleeting my life is. The word brief is more sophisticated than short when talking about time. Brief moment, brief encounter, brief explanation. It adds elegance to your English. Days are numbered is an expression every native speaker knows, meaning time is limited and counting down. When someone says his days are numbered, everyone understands the gravity. Fleeting is beautiful vocabulary for something that passes quickly, like fleeting glimpse, fleeting moment, or fleeting happiness. These words elevate your English from basic to eloquent. giving you the vocabulary to discuss life's deepest concepts with the sophistication of native speakers. David's next revelation uses imagery that creates unforgettable English expressions. You have made my life no longer than the width of my hand. My entire lifetime is just a moment to you. At best, each of us is but a breath. The phrase no longer than is more natural than not, longer than in comparative statements. Width of my hand shows how English uses concrete images to express abstract concepts. Native speakers constantly make these visual comparisons. Just a moment emphasizes brevity more powerfully than only a moment. The expression at best introduces the most optimistic scenario, while but a breath uses but to mean only an advanced usage that makes your English sound more native. These aren't just poetic phrases, they're sophisticated ways to express the temporary nature of anything in English. The psalm continues with metaphorical language that has shaped English expression for centuries. We are merely moving shadows, and all our busy rushing ends in nothing. We heap up wealth, not knowing who will spend it. Merely is more elegant than just or only when you want to minimize something's importance. Moving shadows creates a haunting image that native speakers reference when discussing temporary existence. Busy rushing combines two words that reinforce each other. This redundancy actually strengthens the meaning rather than weakening it. Ends in nothing is more dramatic than ends with nothing. The phrase heap up means to accumulate or pile up, especially wealth or possessions. When native speakers talk about someone heaping up treasure or heaping up problems, they're using David's construction. This vocabulary transforms how you discuss human ambition and materialism in English. David's spiritual turning point introduces vocabulary for expressing hope and desperation. And so, Lord, where do I put my hope? My only hope is in you. Rescue me from my rebellion. Do not let fools mock me. The phrase, and so, is a sophisticated way to introduce logical conclusions more advanced than so alone. Where do I put my hope shows how we use put with abstract concepts, not just physical objects. Native speakers put their trust, put their faith, put their hope in people or ideas. Rescue me from is stronger than save me from it, implies being pulled from danger. Rebellion is powerful vocabulary for resistance against authority, whether political, parental, or spiritual. Mock means to ridicule or make fun of, but it's more serious than tease. These expressions give you sophisticated ways to discuss faith, hope, and human relationships in English. The psalm's emotional climax uses vocabulary that expresses human vulnerability. I am silent before you. I won't say a word, for my punishment is from you, but please stop striking me. I am exhausted by the blows from your hand. Silent before you shows respect and submission when someone is silent before authority. It indicates reverence or acceptance. I won't say a word is more emphatic than I won't speak. It emphasizes complete silence. Exhausted by shows how we use this word beyond physical tiredness. You can be exhausted by problems, arguments, or circumstances. Blows from your hand uses blows to mean hits or strikes, but also metaphorically for hardships. Native speakers talk about devastating blows or crushing blows when describing setbacks. This vocabulary helps you express suffering and submission with dignity and sophistication. David uses powerful metaphorical language that has influenced English literature. When you discipline us for our sins, you consume like a moth what is precious to us. Each of us is but a breath. The word discipline as a verb means to correct or punish for improvement, not just punishment for revenge. Consume like a moth creates an unforgettable image. Moths eating away at fabric represents how problems gradually destroy what we value. Native speakers use consume for anything that gradually takes over or destroys. Worry consumes you, passions you, consumes your time. What is precious to us is more elegant than our precious things. The repetition of but a breath reinforces the theme while teaching you how repetition works in English for emphasis. These aren't just beautiful phrases, they're sophisticated ways to discuss loss, discipline, and human fragility. The psalm concludes with some of the most moving English expressions ever written. Hear my prayer, O Lord. Listen to my cries for help. Don't ignore my tears, for I am your guest, a traveler passing through, as my ancestors were before me. Cries for help is more desperate than calls for help. The word cries suggests emotional intensity. Don't ignore is more personal than don't overlook. It implies deliberate inattention. I am your guest introduces the beautiful concept of life as temporary hospitality. Traveler passing through uses present continuous tense to show ongoing action, while passing through suggests temporary presence. As my ancestors were before me connects personal experience to family history. This construction helps you link your situation to broader patterns. These expressions give you sophisticated vocabulary for prayer, requests, and discussing life's temporary nature. David's final words contain both resignation and hope. Leave me alone so I can smile again before I am gone and exist no more. Leave me alone means to stop bothering or harassing someone, but here it's a request for peace, not isolation. So I can smile again uses purpose construction with so I can. This structure helps you explain your reasons for requests. Before I am gone is more gentle than before I die. English often uses euphemisms for death. Exist no more is profound vocabulary for death that avoids harsh terminology while maintaining dignity. This ending teaches you how to express final requests and discuss mortality with both honesty and hope. The entire psalm has taken you through vocabulary for internal conflict, divine relationship, human mortality, and spiritual resolution concepts that require sophisticated English expression. Throughout this psalm, you've encountered vocabulary and expressions that native speakers use daily without realizing their ancient origins. Words like turmoil, fleeting, rebellion, exhaust, and consume aren't just biblical language, they're essential English vocabulary. Phrases like hold my tongue, days are numbered, at best, and passing through appear in newspapers, movies, conversations, and literature. Constructions like the more, I said to myself, not even, and so I can are fundamental to natural English expression. David's honest wrestling with life's biggest questions has given you tools to discuss emotions, relationships, mortality, and hope with the eloquence of advanced English speakers. These aren't just words to memorize, they're expressions that will make your English sound naturally fluent and emotionally sophisticated. The beauty of learning English through biblical text like Psalm 39 lies in discovering how ancient wisdom connects to modern expression. Every metaphor David uses moving shadows, moths consuming precious things, life as a breath, existence as a journey has shaped how English speakers think and communicate. When you master this vocabulary, you're not just learning words, you're accessing the deep structures of English thought and expression. This psalm proves that the most profound human experiences require sophisticated language, and by studying these ancient expressions, you're developing the vocabulary to articulate your own deepest thoughts and feelings with the power and elegance that has moved hearts for thousands of years.